The house is quiet now. The silence is a heavy blanket, different from the peaceful quiet of years past. From the armchair where you've watched decades unfold, the one with the fabric worn smooth from countless evenings reading, from comforting grandchildren, from waiting for a familiar footstep at the door. The room looks the same, but it feels different. The air is thick with the presence of things left undone. That stack of magazines you meant to read, the cabinet overflowing with photo albums you never open, the heavy oak coffee table that seems to have grown larger over the years. You know this house like the back of your hand, every creak in the floorboards, every shadow the afternoon sun casts. It was once your sanctuary, a fortress of memories and comfort. But lately, moving through it feels less like a familiar dance and more like a careful negotiation. A quiet, unspoken tension has crept in, a feeling that the very things that anchor your past are now subtly holding you in place, making the space feel heavy and hard to navigate. And so, the house becomes the physical manifestation of this internal battle. It is a landscape of deferred choices. The stack of books you won't read again, but can't part with. The china cabinet filled with dishes for occasions that no longer happen. Every single object represents a decision postponed, a what if left unanswered. This accumulation of indecision has a psychic weight that is far heavier than the objects themselves. It smothers the air and drains your energy before you even begin a task. You look around and don't just see clutter, you see a monument to your own hesitation. The desire for lightness, for a space that feels calm and manageable, is constantly at war with the sheer, overwhelming scale of the task ahead. Where does one even start when every item is tangled in a web of memory, guilt, and fear? The problem is no longer the physical state of your home, but the mental state it has created. It is the feeling of being buried, not by things, but by the weight of your own unresolved past. The turning point doesn't arrive with a dramatic crash, but with a quiet, sickening lurch. You're walking from the kitchen with a cup of tea, a path you've taken 1,000 times, when your foot catches the ornate leg of the heavy oak coffee table. You don't fall, but for a split second, the world tilts. The hot tea sloshes, scalding your wrist, but the real burn is the cold flash of adrenaline. In that heart-stopping moment, the entire room transforms. The familiar, comforting landscape suddenly reveals itself as a treacherous terrain of silent hazards. The pride that has kept you silent for so long evaporates, replaced by a single, terrifyingly clear question. What if you had been carrying something heavier? What if you hadn't caught your balance? The hushed conversations of your children are no longer an insult to your capability. They are an echo of a future you just narrowly avoided. The real question is no longer, how could I part with this? But a far more urgent one. If I don't change this now, when will I? The decision solidifies not with a surge of energy, but with a quiet, unshakable resolve. You sit down, not in your favorite armchair, but at the dining table, the one that feels like a command center. This will not be an emotional purge driven by panic. It will be a deliberate, strategic operation. You realize that to protect the future you want, you must become ruthless about the present. You must stop seeing your home as a museum of the past and start seeing it as the command center for your future independence. So you create a new rule, a new framework for every decision. It's not about what to keep, but about what to remove. You decide to conduct a future-proof audit on your own life, examining every single major object with one simple, non-negotiable question. Does this piece of furniture make my life safer and easier, or does it actively stand in the way of my freedom? This is the plan. Not just to organize a house, but to architect a future. The first step is a rule, not a suggestion. It is the clear pathway principle, and it is non-negotiable. It states that the paths you travel most, from your bed to the bathroom, from the kitchen to your favorite chair, must be absolutely, unequivocally clear. This brings us to item number 1 on our audit, the oversized coffee table. Yes, the very centerpiece of the living room. It's where photo albums have been spread, where grandchildren have built puzzles. But now, it forces you to make dozens of small, unconscious adjustments every single day. Each shuffle, each turn, each careful step around it is a tiny gamble. The decision to remove it feels like a betrayal at first. The room looks naked without it. But then you take that first, unimpeded walk from the sofa to the kitchen. There is no obstacle. There is no negotiation. There is only a straight line. That feeling is not emptiness. It is freedom. It is the first concrete proof that you are reclaiming not just your space, but your confidence. Next on the audit is an item that occupies space not just in your room, but in your heart. You are not erasing the past. You are making room for your future. Finally, we confront the wall of unread books, that towering, heavy bookcase that has stood in the same spot for 30 years. It represents a life of curiosity, a world of knowledge. But be honest with yourself. When was the last time you climbed a stool to reach for a book on the top shelf? That bookcase has become a dark, heavy presence. It makes the room feel smaller, and the books themselves have become an unspoken obligation, a silent testament to all the things you feel you should have read. The audit requires a ruthless question. Are these books serving your future or just weighing down your past? Parting with them is not a sign of intellectual failure. It is an act of wisdom. It is curating your life down to what truly matters now. Imagine replacing it with a single, elegant, waist-high shelf holding only the books you love. The room will feel twice as large. The air will feel lighter. You have not lost knowledge. You have made space for clarity. And it is this very clarity that will be essential as we move to the next items, one of which is so common it's almost invisible, yet so dangerous it demands our immediate attention. But after these first few victories, a different kind of resistance begins to set in. It's quieter, deeper. It is the hollow echo in the room where the bookcase once stood. It's the unsettling emptiness in the corner once occupied by his chair. This is where the real work begins, because you are no longer fighting with furniture, you are wrestling with ghosts. Every item you touch from this point forward seems to cry out with a memory, a moment, a piece of a life you don't want to forget. That set of dishes you received as a wedding gift, now gathering dust, feels like a promise you're breaking. The fear is no longer about falling. It's about the terrifying thought that if you let go of the object, you are letting go of the memory itself. That without these physical anchors, the vibrant, colorful past will fade to gray. This feeling is not weakness. It is the heart's natural rebellion against loss. It is the moment the audit shifts from the physical to the profound. And this is where you must make a stand, not against the memory, but for your future. The feeling of betrayal you harbor, betrayal of a younger self, of a lost partner, is the final guardian at the gate. It asks, who are you to undo what we built? But the audit demands a stronger question in return. Who are you to sacrifice the life you have left for a life that is gone? This is not an act of erasure. It is an act of curation. You are not throwing away your past. You are choosing which parts of it serve the person you are today and the person you are determined to become. Letting go of the chair is not forgetting him. It is a testament to the strength he would have wanted for you now. It is declaring that your story is not over. This process is the ultimate act of self-respect, honoring the life you've lived by fiercely protecting the life you have yet to live. This is not loss. This is a choice. The quiet in the house has changed. It is no longer the heavy silence of a museum after hours, but the light, clean silence of a new morning. Standing in the center of your living room, you see not an absence, but a presence. The presence of space, of light, of possibility. The path from the kitchen to your chair is no longer a careful negotiation. It is a declaration. You realize with a startling clarity that the memories were never in the furniture. They are in you. The heavy oak table did not hold the memory of your husband's laughter. You do. Releasing the object was not an act of forgetting, but an act of trust. Trusting that your own heart is a strong enough vessel for the life you have lived. The future-proof audit was never truly about what you were removing. It was about what you were reclaiming. The authority to decide what your life looks like. The right to shape your environment to serve your present, not just honor your past. This is the first day of your new identity, not as a widow preserving a shrine, but as the master of your own domain. This newfound clarity radiates outward, fundamentally changing your relationship with the future. The low-grade anxiety that hummed beneath the surface of every day has vanished, replaced by a deep, quiet confidence. Your home is no longer a landscape of potential betrayals, but a fortress of your own design, built to support the life you intend to live. When you now think of your children visiting, the fear of their judgment is gone. In its place is a calm readiness to welcome them into a space that reflects not your fragility, but your wisdom and foresight. You have not just tidied your house. You have sent a clear, powerful message to yourself and to the world. Your story is not winding down. You are actively, intelligently, and fiercely authoring its next chapter. The space you have created is more than just safe. It is a launch pad. It is the tangible proof that you have honored the life you've lived by so bravely protecting the one you have yet to live. The mornings feel different now. The sunlight, once obstructed by the heavy shadows of towering furniture, now streams across the floor in wide, generous bands. Standing in the center of your living room, you take a slow, deliberate breath. The air itself feels lighter, cleaner. It's not an emptiness you feel, but a profound sense of presence, the presence of space, of quiet, of possibility. The journey from your favorite armchair to the kitchen is no longer a subconscious series of calculations and careful shuffles. It is a single, unimpeded thought, followed by an effortless walk. You realize with a startling, beautiful clarity that the future-proof audit was never truly about subtraction. It was about addition. For every piece of furniture removed, you gained something far more valuable in return. A tangible sense of freedom, a quiet confidence in your every step. Your home has ceased to be an archive of a life that was. It has become the clean, well-lit stage for the life you are living right now, today. You find yourself looking at an old photograph, one you took from a heavy album before letting the rest go. It's a picture of you and your husband, decades younger, standing proudly in this very room. The ghost chair he once sat in is gone now, as is the heavy coffee table that anchored the space between you. For a moment, you'd feared that removing the objects would be like tearing a hole in the photograph itself, that the memories would leak out and fade to gray. But looking at the image now, you understand. The memory was never in the chair. The warmth of his hand was not stored in the wood of the table. They are in you. The stories are woven into the very fabric of your being, and they are more vibrant and alive than any dusty object could ever hope to be. Letting go was not an act of forgetting. It was a profound act of trust in your own heart to be the faithful keeper of your most precious moments. The last time your children visited, something fundamental had shifted. They walked in, and instead of the familiar subtle tension, the silent scanning for risks, their eyes widened with genuine admiration. You watched them move through the open, light-filled space, and you heard not the hushed whispers of worry, but their open appreciation for the elegance and intelligence of the design. "The house looks incredible, Mom," your son said, not with a patronizing tone, but with the sincere respect of one adult acknowledging the wisdom of another. In that moment, you felt the last vestiges of your secret fear dissolve. You had not just prevented a fall, you had reclaimed your role. You were not a problem to be managed, but the matriarch of the family, a woman of foresight and strength, who is not just managing her present, but actively and brilliantly designing her future. The visit ended not with concern, but with a shared sense of pride. The corner where the imposing bookshelf once stood, casting a permanent shadow, is now your morning sanctuary. A single comfortable chair and a new, brighter lamp have created a perfect reading nook. You sit there with your coffee, not surrounded by the hundreds of books you felt you should read, but with the one or two you truly want to read. The space is no longer a monument to past intellectual ambitions, but a functional, beautiful part of your active life. You have started doing simple yoga stretches in the open space in front of the window, a small act of self-care that would have been impossible just months ago. This is what the next chapter truly means. It's not a vague, far-off concept. It is the concrete reality of using the space you have reclaimed to pursue joy, health, and peace in your daily life. Your home is no longer a passive container for your past, but an active partner in your present well-being. This process has fundamentally rewired your approach to life itself. The future-proof audit has become more than a one-time checklist. It is now an internal framework for all your decisions. You find yourself applying its ruthless logic elsewhere, letting go of old obligations that no longer serve you, curating your friendships down to the ones that bring you genuine joy, and being more decisive about how you spend your most precious resource, your time. You are no longer simply maintaining a life, you are consciously curating it. This mindset has created a powerful ripple effect, instilling a deep sense of control that extends far beyond the four walls of your home. You are the architect, not just of a safer living space, but of a more intentional and fulfilling existence. The feeling is not one of stripping away, but of honing your life down to its most beautiful and essential form. There is a quiet dignity in taking control. In a world that often suggests the later chapters of life are about slowly relinquishing control, you have made a powerful, defiant statement to the contrary. You looked the future squarely in the eye, acknowledged the potential for frailty, and took decisive, intelligent action on your own terms. This was not about vanity or a refusal to accept your age. It was the ultimate act of self-respect. It was a promise you made to yourself that you would do everything in your power to live out your years with grace, autonomy, and independence. The peace of mind that comes from this knowledge is immeasurable. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that you are not a passenger in your own life, passively waiting to see what happens. You are the captain of your ship, and you have charted a clear, safe course for the journey ahead. Your story is not over. The actions you have taken are proof that the narrative is not yet written. The space you see around you now, the light, the clarity, the freedom, is a direct reflection of a choice you made. It is tangible evidence that it is never too late to become the author of your own next chapter. Your home is no longer just a house. It is a declaration. It declares that wisdom is more powerful than fear, that the future is something to be designed, not dreaded, and that a life well lived deserves a future well protected. Look around your own home. Look at it not as a collection of memories, but as the command center for the rest of your life. There is still time. There is still a chapter to be written. The pen is in your hand.